You're still alive, I see.
Mary? Is that you? What's happening? Where's your mother?
My mother? You killed her, remember?
Yes. That's right. I killed her. With my own hands. What horrible thing have I done? I was too weak. I succumbed to his influence.
You mean... you were possessed? Father?
Yes, I was manipulated. Manipulated by a devil named Virgil.
Virgil?
He's attempting to bring the demon world back to this modern day. A world that Sparta once sealed off.
Sparta? I thought he was a myth.
If the demons return, this world will be thrown into chaos. Stop him. Stop Virgil.
Me?
You're such a sweet child. Just like your mother.
Father! Father! Virgil.
Gotta be honest, that scene was completely missing out. No! But anyway, that's besides the point. Greetings, I'm Solidus-Skully, and welcome back to another amazing Devil May Cry 3 complainy session with the complainy guy. That is me, Solidus-Skully. In any case though, there is a lot to unpack with that little cutscene as we have more exploration to make and more things to explore. In... what's not a terrible level, although... Actually, yeah, I mean, it's not really the level I have much of a problem with coming up. There's a nice, balance between action, puzzles, exploration. I'm pretty sound as a pound with the level itself, plus with a few new enemies introduced and powers that we can improve upon with Nevin. So yeah, the level itself is pretty good. It's just that their story and the cutscenes that kind of get my goat. So yeah, pretty much summing up Devil May Cry 3 in a nutshell for me. The level design's pretty good, minor nitpicks here and there, but then there's that story, and the characters, and the cutscenes, and enough preamble bullshit. Let's get this show on the road. Showtime. The first of which, basically, really me wanting to talk about Arkham's whole redemption kind of thing. Spoiler alert, no, he isn't being genuine for those of you with a brain cell about the size of a peanut, so yeah, he's obviously pulling a bit of a fast one, and Lady, for some reason, is going along with this. I guess she has no other evidence to the contrary, or does sort of want to believe that there's good in him, perhaps, but even then, that seems to sort of contradict something that happened a little bit earlier on, which he was like, oh, Guru, no, he's pure evil, I hate you, Guru, the demons, what have you. That is basically the crux of her arc, where Mary's heart grew 3 sizes that day. For you see, Mary had a little lamb, little lamb, little lamb. Mary had a little lamb, and his name was Dante. But no, on a serious note, yeah, she seemed pretty dead set on her father being, like, pure evil, but I guess Arkham's acting skills was enough to convince her. But yeah, I can't tell whether or not this is really just sort of meant to be, the ploy that it is in fact set up to be in the final game, or if this was meant to be more in line with, well, some plot elements, because, yeah, let's just say that considering the only other character besides Dante and Virgil running around here, you know, the Jester that we've seen running about, yeah, let's just say there was meant to be more of a tie between both him and Arkham, and, I don't know. I mean, again, without really spoiling anything, unless you can read between the lines of my dialogue here, I think it honestly would have been a little bit more effective if, well, they had Arkham and Jester be two completely separate entities, for lack of a better phrase. Although, I mean, that pretty much gives the twist away ahead of time, although, then again, what twist, really? Again, we already know at this point that Arkham sold his soul for demonic powers, so really, there isn't really much of a spoiler there to be had. In any case, though, yeah, this is pretty much not necessarily the best showcase for Nevin, considering the fact that, yeah, these miasma enemies pretty much require you to sort of get up into their grill, wait until they become physical, and then you can take them down. Not too bad in terms of enemies, but, yeah, it's just sort of more or less them floating around going a bit no, you can't hit me, until you get up in their face and pretty much take down the clown, or Jester, or Joker, which allegedly is going to spank your butt, spank you on the butt? But yeah, I mean, to kind of go into it a little bit further though, is also to do with the lady's overall character arc. I mean, again, you've already seen from the beginning of the game, and pretty much all throughout really, with her clashes with Dante or whatever, you know, shooting him about and whatever, that she seems to be a little bit more anger-driven, which, again, I don't know whether or not this is just the fact that, you know, I came into, well, the classic series through DMC1, or whether or not this is just more stuff that was altered just, you know, for the sake of this either initially being an alternate continuity or whatever. By the way, I may potentially make this the thumbnail of the video. It looks fucking sick. But yeah, Lady's whole character arc here kind of feels like more like, well, something more in line with what a Devil May Cry 1 prequel would have been like. I mean, again, I know DMC3 is technically the prequel here, but I don't know, like, the characterization here just seems to be a bit off to me. It feels like they gave Dante's character arc to, you know, Lady, since, you know, I feel like a pre-DMC1 Dante, as he was characterized in that game, probably would have been just as revenge-bound, you know, as he hunted down Mundus. You know, I mean, particularly in the cutscene, at the beginning of the first game when you see him talking to Trish, it's like, I spent 10 years trying to hunt down Mundus, now I'm finally getting close. So yeah, I mean, I feel like, you know, a 19-year-old Dante probably would have been a little bit more anger-driven and, you know, much more... I don't... Well, actually, yeah, I'd say he probably would have been a little bit more angry. I mean, Virgil's the one who's a bit more focused, but Dante, I feel, probably would have been one to wear his emotions on his sleeve a little bit more, so... Yeah, I mean, it just sort of feels like, in order to give Lady a bit of a purpose, that they... It just sort of gave Dante's character arc to her and gave Dante more of, like, a failed comedian, I'm so cool 2005 edition kind of personality. I guess to either as a makeup present for Devil May Cry 2's Dante being too serious, and then for fucking jokey jokes, punk ass, whatever. I can't really say for certain. I'm really just sort of, you know, guessing in a void here. But either way, it just sort of feels like, I don't know. A lot of these character arcs don't really work as effectively as they otherwise should, really, and, I mean, Lady's character arc for the rest of the game turns out, I think, relatively decent. It's just one that feels more in line with Devil May Cry 1 era Dante as opposed to, well, 3 era Dante, who's kind of in a bit of a mixture of things, but then again, I can't tell whether or not that was just due to writing changes, due to ad-lib lines by Ruben Langdon, or whether or not this is all just a big, colossal mess that people completely skirt over because... Whoopee, fun games. Yeah, woo. Guitar solo, dude. Anyway, I'm just sort of fucking around here. Again, if you really want to get things moving, just pretty much whack your sword against the stone pillar thing, and then you can pretty much progress onwards to new adventure. By the time you get into that, you know, slot. Oh yes, Dante is gonna be doing all those slots. Oh yes, in Las Vegas, a place known for its slots. The pathway is open. But of course. Yeah, we gotta fight some more. And the entrance is blocked. And so is the exit. And now we have another Hell Vanguard and another Misty fucker, which I can't remember the name of at present. But I'm sure you'll remember at some stage. Oh, the Hell Vanguard. You were a threat to me once. Nearly completely destroying me at the beginning of, the game, back when Dante sucked. Or at least sort of-ish sucked. There isn't really much of a progression for Dante sort of gaining skills and learning much. Oh dear, here comes the complaining again. Yeah, that's another thing that does kind of bother me here, really. Dante kind of pretty much starts at 100 at the beginning of the game, and then doesn't really seem like he has much of a place to grow. Like, I mean, later on in the series, they really do sort of play out the whole, like, oh, look, it's the legendary devil hunter Dante, he's so cool. And, like, I mean, again, I know by Devil May Cry 1 and 2, it sort of makes sense that his reputation's been built up because he defeated, you know, Mundus and Argosax, but yeah, Devil May Cry 3 just sort of automatically treats Dante like he's already skilled at this sort of thing, has been doing this for a while, and, you know, is like an automatic badass worthy of respect, but yeah, they don't really seem to, like, sort of show him growing in skills and power compared to, like, any other point or really winning a lot of people's respect. You do sort of get a little bit of that with Cerberus, but after that, it's not really much of anything. Like, I mean, again, the other bosses either don't really talk back and, you know, akin to, you know, the Gigapede or Leviathan or whatever else, or you know, you sort of get cases of, you know, this upcoming boss who, well, the less said about that, the better until we get to it. And then, of course, you also have, well, Nevin's boss fight, which was pretty much there to be, oh, hello, yes, I'm a sexy girl. I'm gonna flirt with you, Dante, and then I'm gonna kill you. And then Dante being all like, yeah, hot chicks, chimichangas. And, you know, that doesn't really seem to imply, like, you know, Dante could easily get curb stomped by a lot of demons. I know there's a whole gameplay thing of like, oh, well, the game is supposed to be hard, so that way you're the one gaining skills, but what I'm talking about here is really more in terms of narrative. I mean, Dante does get curb stomped by Virgil for, like, one fight, but that's pretty much it. And even in that case, he gained a power-up from it and didn't really seem to, you know, dwell on the fact that he should be taking the situation a bit more seriously. So, I don't know, Dante's character progression in DMC3 is a fucking mess, really. It's, again, it's so lackadaisical for, like, you know, pretty much most of the game. It's only for the last, like, you know, 4 or 5 missions, really, where he really sort of starts to, you know, get his ass into gear, and even then, it's, again, it's whatever. It's a very mishmashed, puzzle-based, fucking doolally story that doesn't really fucking matter, really. I don't know, I mean, again, there's been a lot of arguments that I've seen, you know, between fans and whatever else about how seriously you should really take the stories of Devil May Cry, but, I don't know, like, I mean, for the amount of cutscenes that they place, and again, like, I mean, if the whole story was pretty much, you know, fast from beginning to end, or just, you know, an excuse to just sort of play around and have fun, I wouldn't really mind too much, but the problem is, the game kind of wants to be this epic and dark and, oh, serious and cool, but then also just wastes most of its time either doing extreme stunt work and just not really developing much of anything and having a few wacky jokes because fuck it. I don't know. I mean, again, it's not quite tone-breaking because, again, I do space apart the comedy and the, you know, the action scenes and the dramatic stuff apart far enough so it doesn't feel like it's completely disingenuous, but I don't know, there's a part of it that just doesn't really feel consistent with itself. Like, there's, I don't know, like, it either wants to be wacky comedy one minute, and then it wants to be, like, you know, epic shonen drama the next, and then it's just kind of, ugh. In any case, not to worry, we'll get Agni and Rudra's, you know, technique master thingamatron for a blue orb later on. But in the meantime, though, we're going on a wicked ride on a roller coaster. Whoopee. Nevin. This guitar weapon is my favorite. And, yeah, if you could tell on the upgrade screen, or, well, you might have seen it, but yeah, this is actually a weapon that's similar to DMC1. This is pretty much the Elastil replacement there for giving you air raid. Pretty much the same ability you had in Devil May Cry 1, where you can pretty much take to the skies and, yeah, launch lightning all upon your enemies in sick and silky fashion, but, I tried to show it off there, but sadly I didn't have enough Devil Trigger. I haven't awakened my full power. But yeah, like all beat-em-ups, we have another lift sequence, just to really just sort of go doolally. To talk further about other things that we have, yeah, Spiral. Probably the weapon I tend to use a lot, again, it's either, you know, Spiral or the shotgun that I pretty much end up using the most, so, yeah, prepare to see this weapon getting a lot more love compared to... Actually, I don't think we get any other, do we? Fuck it, I can't remember. It's been a while since I recorded, and it's also been a while since I audio commentated, because, yeah, I believe at this point in time, I think, yeah, Shadow Dancer should already be uploaded at this point, so, yeah, starting next week, Devil May Cry 3 Part 1 will be uploaded, so, Whoopee. But yeah, either way, like, I mean, this elevator sequence compared to anything else, it does actually have, like, a bit of a finite ending sequence, so, yeah, even if you don't defeat all the demons on the lift sequence, you will pretty much end at some stage. It's just, well, I don't know, it just sort of depends on, how fast you can kill them and, whatever else, really. Out of control. Yeah, I don't really have too much else to say at this stage, apart from, the upcoming boss, which is a wee bit of a disappointment, and, again, just kind of further goes to show a bit of a pish enemy roster that kind of makes me not really care too much of Devil May Cry 3's bosses. Again, there's a lot more bosses per capita compared to, well, I'd say at the very least Devil May Cry 1, at least in terms of our characters, but I don't know, I feel like you got a little bit more between, you know, Griffin, Phantom, and, you know, Nightmare compared to what you get with any of the bosses in 3, which is, yeah, it's kind of saddening to be perfectly honest, but in any case, I see too much. And this will prove my example, as I talk about it a bit later on, as we encounter our next boss, with a bit of conflicting origins in terms of design and what he's meant to be.
Didn't your mother ever teach you how to use a door? Huh? Give me a break. Tell you what, next time I'll try and wear some cologne, okay?
It's the stench of betrayal, the odor of that accursed Sparta. I will annihilate every last blood relation of Sparta! A son cleaning up his dad's mess, huh? Where have I heard this story before?
So this is Beowulf. Yeah, a legend taken from like an old Anglican legend from like, I want to say it was like the early 10th century or something or other. But yeah, his design was actually based on the Sumerian demon Pazuzu. Although he appears to have the face of the Messiria, slightly altered with a little horn on his head from Devil May Cry 2. So really, why the hell Beowulf has like an ancient Anglo-Saxon warrior name, but has a Sumerian demon look? I don't really know. I mean, then again, it is worth mentioning that, you know, if artist Daigo Ikeno, I believe his name is, yeah, he was actually going to have a bit of a different name and design early on, so, I don't know, maybe in a similar vein to Heine, maybe people thought Pazuzu was a bit too silly of a name. I mean, considering how people reacted to, you know, The Exorcist and that demon Pazuzu being in there. Well, that might have been the second one, I can't really remember. But yeah, either way, Beowulf is pretty much punch enemy, and again, the weapon you get from him is pretty much the gauntlet weapons. Beowulf pretty much, basically a stand-in for, you know, Ifrit from Devil May Cry 1, so yeah, not really anything I'm too interested in, because it's pretty much a repeat of the thing we've seen before, except more. In terms of enemy dynamics, so, like, I mean, again, Beowulf will pretty much stomp down cages and throw them at you if he, you know, thinks you're giving it all this. He'll punch you around, he'll try and attack you, charge, and do some other bestial things. Again, when he does get a wee bit teed off, though, he will eventually start, you know, utilizing his Beowulf light powers to either, you know, pretty much give, like, an AoE burst attack to get you off his back, and then have missiles that pretty much home in on you, so yeah, that's pretty much all he wrote. The only other thing to really bring up with Beowulf is pretty much how pathetic of a boss he is. As you can tell with the cutscene, he was blinded by Sparta and now wants revenge or whatever, but I mean, again, I know it makes sense with Dante to mock him being, you know, youthful and impudent, but by that same token, though, again, it just has the effect of making Beowulf seem pathetic, which I guess was sort of the idea that, oh, he couldn't even beat Sparta, so what chance does he have against you? Sucking the dick, sucking the dick, sucking the player's ego dick. I don't know. It's just kind of ego-stroking for the player, really, and just makes, you know, fighting this boss fight seem a bit more paltry from a context perspective, and even the fight itself, I mean, it's okay, but by that same token, it doesn't really pump me up to face off against him. I mean, this isn't like a, oh man, what a tough, ultra-strong enemy that I respect and seems cool enough for me to fight and take down, but rather just sort of like, oh, he's just some demon. Yawn a rana, dudes. Chimichangas, jelly and jam time. I'm Dante, Hello, my name Dante. I don't know. I mean, again, it's also kind of telling that in a very shallow way, Virgil's pretty much the only boss fight from this game that people seem to remember. And that's only because they really they either tend to play up like his, like, whole sort of like, oh yes, I'm troubled and tortured aspect, or it's just more down to the fact that in a very shallow way, it's like, oh yeah, he's cool because he uses a samurai sword and is a half-demon and has superpowers, and that's pretty much all he really has to them at this stage. And even when he does get death a bit later on, it's, not good. Not good.
One whose heart pumps the blood of Sparta. Though my sight is gone, I remember your scent. I shall hunt you down through eternity if I must, till I rid this earth of your foul smell.
Why do I have to take the heat for my father? Come on, man. Cut me some slack.
And with that, we pretty much leveled up the last of our styles. Or at least the ones that we've acquired for now, but in the meantime though, yeah, that was enough whinging for Devil May Cry 3 done for one day, so on that note, I'm Solidus-Skully, keep it new metal, and next time with the Devil May Cry 3 commentary, yeah, we have more tricks to play with our guns, so what is this? A mysterious thing? That Arkham is gone? And therefore completely invalidating his whole redemption arc. Catch you later.